Hello and welcome back to another episode of How to Make Commas video. My last video took place in Incarnum and showed you what to fight, where to spend your time and put forth your effort to make the most bang for your buck. And today we're going to do the same, but we're going over the first part of Astrub. Now I say the first part of Astrub because it's broken into several sections. This is Strobe City right here. And every location that's just to the side of the city is considered part of Astrub as well. They have different enemies, different drops in these areas. It goes anywhere from level 10 here into the city, all the way to level 30 down in the cemetery. So with all these areas and with such a wide range of levels, I'm going to cover levels 10 through 15 in this video. Now, it doesn't mean that it only works for you if you are levels 10 through 15. It just means that the monsters in this area are designed for levels 10 to 15. They can still be very much worth fighting beyond that level, especially if you're playing by yourself and you start fighting larger mobs. We're going to start out right here in Strobe City. And just like my Incarnum video, what I did is I made a list of all the enemies that are in these sections, looked at the resources that are unique to them, and I compared the prices. Here's a list of all the items that I found. There's around 30 of them that are unique to these sections of Astrub. If we bring up our encyclopedia here, we'll see that city, we have a bunch of peewees, a couple miscellaneous things, but the peewees are the main things. Astrub fields, we got all the flowers. The Astrub meadows, we have the larvae. And the rocky inlet is where the snappers or the fish type characters are. These are the main areas that we're covering in this video. Now, if you didn't know this before, if it's got a gold bar around it, it means it's one of their more rare items to drop. So that's something that you have to take into consideration when you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to fight? What's going to give me the most bang for my buck? Well, that's what I have done for you. I've done all the math, I've done all the research. So all you got to do, sit back, watch the video, and then go out and kill some stuff. I have their average price, their drop rate, and then what that would mean if I did 100 fights. The reason that's important is because that puts everything on an even playing field against their drop rates. So like the Astrub fields, you'll see that there's an ancestral cotton, and it has an average price of almost 1,800 commas. But it's got a 5% drop rate. That means out of 100 fights, you're liable to get 5 of them. But you look at a peewee feather, and you see it's only got a 330 average price, but it's got a 100% drop rate. So out of 100 fights, you could have 33,000 commas worth of feathers because the drop rate's so high. So with that in mind, what I did this round was I did 15 minutes of fighting in the 3 top areas. If you look at my chart, and I'm going to separate out just the top section. In this top section, you'll see that the meadows are the red, the city is the green, and the inlet is the blue. These are the things that provided the highest comma return based upon 100 fights. So that's the average times the drop rate. That's how we get that number. You'll see that the orange larva skin has the highest with almost 940, well, just over 940 average price at almost a 50% drop rate. We're looking at around a 43,000 comma deal there. And then just the 2 below that, the red peewees and the pink peewees, because the drop rate's so high, we can get a lot of those in a short period of time. And then we got the rocky inlet. You'll notice that fields didn't even pop up in the top of this list. And it's because the things that actually have some good value to them have a really low drop rate. So then I looked at what was on the top, and we got the meadows, Astrub City, and the rocky inlet. So I spent 15 minutes fighting in each of those areas. So the first area of fighting, since it is level 10, was Astrub City. The key with the peewees is you want to be looking for the red and the pink peewees. When I was doing these, I was trying to stick with mobs of 2 to 4. So when I fought these 15 minutes here in the peewee area, in those 15 minutes I managed to complete 17 fights. And in those 17 fights I managed to drop 13 red feathers, 7 pink, 10 blue. And when I calculate those out with my average prices, that puts me at almost 8,000 commas in 15 minutes. Some yellows, some purples, and some greens as well, which do add a few extra 100 commas to the group. The next area I went to were the meadows down south where the larvas were. Now, these things were tricky. Some of them steal AP, some of them reflect damage. There's another color that heals its allies. See down here, what you want to fight are the orange larvas. Those are the only ones that are really worth much money. What you want are the orange larva skins. So you gotta fight the orange ones. So when I did this, I managed to get 16 fights in those 15 minutes, ranging anywhere from 1 to 3 creatures, and I managed to drop 11 skins. 11 skins at 940 comma average price put me at just over 10,000 commas in those 15 minutes. The last place I went to was the Rocky Inlet, because in this area, the suntan lotion and the marine conch were both worth a decent amount of money. Also about a 50% chance of dropping. And I like the idea of there being 2 creatures I can attack versus only 1 to try to increase my chances. Now over there, you want to be attacking the brown and the green snappers. Those are the ones that are going to drop what you want. In 15 minutes, I was able to do 17 fights. I feel like they were easier than the larva. So if you're finding the larvas a little too hard, but you still need something better than a peewee, then the Rocky Inlets are probably where I would go as a third option. But in the 15 minutes I was there, I did 17 fights. I managed to drop 5 suntan lotions and 13 marine conches, which gave me a total of just over 7,000 commas. So it was definitely the least out of the group. What I would recommend is when you first come down to Incarnum, run over to the equipment market, grab whatever peewee set you need. They're very cheap. I bought the whole set for my craw for less than 200 commas. That's 6 pieces of gear for less than 200 commas, and it makes a huge difference. So do that first. Then start fighting peewees. Shoot for the reds and the pinks. Once you've worked your way up into a comfortable position, then for the most money, I would go down south and I would fight the larvas, but you want to fight the orange larvas. Now I got a couple bonus tips for you. If you have a level 10 hunter, the peewees will also drop what's called ground meat. Those things sell for 200 to 250 commas a piece. And you can make a whole lot more commas while fighting these peewees. In fact, it would probably even pass up the larvas at that point. The other thing I was going to recommend is if you've got access to a level 20 alchemist, if you go down and you fight those orange larvas and you get 20 of those orange larva skins, go to the market and buy 10 drinking water. So altogether that's 20,000 commas. Take those and craft a magic orange dye. The magic orange dye will sell anywhere from 30 to 40,000 commas. I think I've even seen them higher than 40, like 45,000 commas. Doubling the amount of money you make off those skins by crafting them into the dye. Well, that's all I got for this video. I hope you found it helpful, found it useful. Thanks for joining me and Sniffing for Cash here for another video. And if you could do me a favor, hit that like button. That helps people find my content. These videos are a lot of fun to make, and I'm hoping that they're going to be very helpful for people. Like I said, the next video, I'm going to try to cover the higher levels, probably range 20 to 30. Thanks again for coming by. Hit subscribe. So that's all I got. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you on the next one.